So as you all know, the official story coming from Trump is that the reason Maduro's got to go is because he's a narco-terrorist. He's a narco-trafficker and a narco-terrorist, and they're sending drugs. They're killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. This is their bullshit story. Now, we know that's false because literally zero fentanyl comes from Venezuela. Zero. None. In fact, less than 10% of drugs come from Venezuela at all. So the majority of the drugs actually come from Colombia, right? But it's not even like the government of Colombia is doing it. But virtually none of it comes from Venezuela. So we know that's fake. The other thing is the boats that they're saying are carrying the drugs, they can't even reach the U.S. They need to be refueled 20 fucking times to get here. So effectively, Trump has been murdering innocent fucking fishermen in the Caribbean. That's what's been happening. But they keep coming back to that cover story. It's about the drugs. No, it's about drugs in the same way that toppling Saddam Hussein was about weapons of mass destruction. We all know now that was a lie that Bush and Cheney told. We know that. And guess what? Now we know in real time Trump is lying about Venezuela. Well, guess what? He couldn't make it any more clear that it's a brazen, disgusting, open lie because look at what he just did. From Fox News, Trump plans full and complete pardon for former Honduran president convicted of drug trafficking. Juan Orlando Hernandez was convicted of conspiring to move 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S. These aren't just charges. He was literally convicted in a court of law, which means the evidence is clear. Homie was trafficking 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S. So you have a fascist who's also an actual narco-trafficker. By the way, I looked it up. That's about $20 billion worth of cocaine that he sent into the U.S. Trump pardoned him. Look at what Pete Hegseth said. We have only just begun to kill narco-terrorists. You motherfuckers are freeing narco-terrorists. I also remember when Trump freed some fucking gang members because they had cut a deal with Bukele, his favorite fascist in El Salvador. Spare me this bullshit. Spare me this oh, we're cracking down on the drugs, bro. That's what we're doing, bro. Which is why you're pardoning a top-level fucking narco-trafficker who sent $20 billion worth of cocaine into the U.S. All right, ready, though? Let me give you some more. So Trump is very serious about fighting and winning the war on drugs, which is why he's pardoned Ross Ulbricht, I should say, founder of Silk Road, online marketplace for drugs like cocaine and heroin, which generated $200 billion in sales. Juan Orlando Hernandez, who we just talked about, and Changpeng Zhao, or CZ as they call him. This guy is the Binance CEO, the crypto guy, who laundered money for drug traffickers and for fucking Al-Qaeda, by the way. He's meeting with Al-Qaeda in the White House because he's given a hand job to the fucking new Syrian president who was literally in Al-Qaeda. And he's pardoning a guy who laundered money for Al-Qaeda and drug cartels as he pretends like he's Mr. Tough on Drugs, bro. That's what I am, bro. I'm so tough on drugs, bro. All right, ready for this? Why? Why is Trump pardoning this guy? Well, as Pedro Gonzalez says, and this was before Trump had announced the pardon, but he says, there's a 90% chance Trump wants to pardon Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who was convicted for his role in a major drug trafficking enterprise because he is connected to people like Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen and the rest of the tech bro morons. In other words, Joe Rogan's best billionaire robber baron friends, who he brings on his podcast to fucking whitewash their reputations, those guys have business deals with the narco-trafficking fascist. And I believe they're working on some like libertarian crypto city in Honduras. And so Peter Thiel doesn't want that project of his to get destroyed by a messy thing called democracy and a messy thing called holding criminals accountable. So Trump pardons this motherfucker. This is absolutely positively insane. This guy's a crypto bro. He's connected to the AI tech broligarchs. And so they always get what they want. They always get what they want. They want no regulation of AI and let AI steal everybody's job. They want to make all the money and get all the fucking welfare while you cut the social safety net. They want to lie about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and destroy it because, God forbid, it hold people like them accountable. Peter Thiel wants to run around screaming about the Antichrist as he very clearly is the Antichrist insofar as we have one. This is absolutely disgusting. I hope you're happy, Joe Rogan. I hope you're happy. Whitewashing the reputations of Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, billionaire robber baron fucking fraud criminals who are now getting massive narco-terrorists fucking freed who are also fascists. That's great, but we're still not done yet because we also have this. So Trump was asked about this contradiction. Hey man, you say you want to topple Maduro because he's doing narco-trafficking and narco-terror. That's what you say. Well, why did you just free a narco-trafficker, a narco-terrorist? If you're really tough on narco-traffickers and narco-terrorists, how can you free somebody who was convicted of such crimes? Ready for his fucking dumbass low IQ response? Here we go. What evidence do you have that he didn't do these things? Because he was convicted in a court of law of doing these things. The evidence is overwhelming. He goes, well, I mean, you look at a country, you don't just jail the president. You don't just... What kind of a fucking response is that? You were asked about evidence. You have no fucking evidence. Of course you don't. Why? Because he's doing the bidding of his billionaire daddies. His billionaire donor daddies. Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel said, hey, bitch, fall in line, pardon the person I want you to fucking pardon. Even though it directly undermines your whole line of argument for why you have to topple Venezuela, topple fucking Maduro in Venezuela. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Why does Trump want to topple the Venezuelan government? He wants to steal the oil. He's literally on tape saying that while giving a speech in 2023. He says, let's steal it. Let's take the oil. We need to take their oil. If we toppled him in the first term, we would have taken the oil. Let's take the fucking oil. They want the mineral resources. They want the oil. He wants his other donor and buddy, Eric Prince, to have a new country, the illegal mercenary Blackwater criminal, to have a new country that he can illegally occupy, put in a puppet government. This is why they want to do it. This is why they want to do it. So it never had anything to do with drugs. And of course, the proof now is that you keep running around pardoning the worst fucking drug offenders in the country. The real narco-traffickers. The real criminals.
Can I just clarify too that it includes this country, okay? To be honest, I mean, if somebody does something wrong, you put the president of the country in jail.
Well, that's how stupid this is. If somebody does something wrong, you put the president of the country in jail. But it wasn't somebody who did something wrong. It was this guy directly involved in the fucking drug trafficking. Oh my God.
It was a Biden setup.
It was a Biden setup. Yeah, Joe Biden, who fucking barely knew where the fuck he was, could barely string together a coherent sentence in the debate against you. Somehow that guy was masterminding fake charges against the president of Honduras. Do you fucking hear yourself? Retire, you old washed bitch. It's fucking hard to wash you now. Jesus Christ.
It was a Biden administration setup. And you have a big race going on this week. Next week. I think it's going to be a very important race. You'll be interested in seeing Honduras. That's what you're talking about, right? Correct.
So then he starts talking about the race coming up in Honduras. Well, that's weird, because we're going to get to that in a second. Well, look at this from Juan David Rojas. He says, brief history of U.S. meddling in Honduras. They helped coup leftist Mel Zelaya over ties to Hugo Chavez. The conservative successor, Juan Orlando Hernandez, traffics 500 tons of cocaine to the U.S. and is beloved by Obama, Trump, and Biden. Zelaya's wife wins 2022 election, extraditing Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was convicted and imprisoned in the U.S. Trump accuses Venezuela's Maduro of narco-terrorism. Trump tells Hondurans not to vote for the left on Sunday and promises to pardon the narco-terrorist. Okay, ready? Look at what Ben Norton says here. This is very suspicious. The betting website Polymarket tends to be very accurate in predicting election outcomes. For the last 2 weeks, Honduras' U.S.-backed right-wing drug cartel-linked presidential candidate, Nasri Tito Asfura, had extremely low odds, hovering around 10%. So this is the new Trump-aligned guy, right-wing guy in Honduras for the election. 10%. Ready? But suddenly, after the polls closed on election night, around 8 p.m. local time, his chances shot up from just 9% to 93%. This came after Honduras' left-wing ruling Libre Party published leaked recordings exposed a plot by U.S.-backed right-wing groups to steal the election by hacking the electoral system and manipulating the results. The U.S. government has been openly meddling in Honduras' election. Donald Trump supports Asfura and his right-wing National Party, which collaborates closely with drug cartels. So now, it looks like Trump, I gotta keep an eye on that Honduras election. What happens? Everything that the poll showed, which, by the way, the left-wing candidate was leading in every poll. The left-wing candidate led in the fucking exit polls. Now, they're in third. And the one who was hovering around a 10% chance of winning is now the favorite to fucking win. Funny how that works. As he's pardoning the drug trafficking fascist criminal who used to run the country, as they're installing the new drug trafficking fascist criminal. As they say Maduro's got to go because of his ties to the cartels, as they root for the guy who has direct ties to the cartels in Honduras. No, I'm sorry. This is fucking unacceptable. The president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, he was 100% correct when he was talking about these motherfuckers, these imperialists are coming to steal the oil, to steal the natural resources, to put puppet governments in there, to extract all the wealth from these countries, because they are a fucking global pedophile mafia cabal. That's what they are. He's 100% correct. That's what Trump is. That's what they fucking represent. And these pardons, by the way, are also totally and utterly out of control to the point where we should probably be having a conversation about getting rid of the pardon power for the president. This has been such a giant mindfuck and so extreme in all the pardons he's given out. We should seriously be talking about getting rid of the pardon power. Because there's not a criminal in America that he's not trying to fucking pardon. 1,600 January 6ers, you have hundreds of them literally assaulted cops. He freed them all. Some of them went on to kill people with their vehicles. Some of them went on to be fredophiles, and they argued that Trump's pardon for January 6th included their fredophilia. Okay? You have every financial criminal under the sun. It's insane. Crystal was reading one of the stories the other day where a guy ran a bunch of nursing homes. All the money he took out of the checks of his workers that's supposed to go to pay their taxes, he took that and bought a yacht. Like, insane white-collar criminals. Fraud to the tune of tens of millions, billions of dollars. And what happens? He frees these people. Why? Because he has a pay-to-play scheme where you go to Mar-a-Lago, you give him $1 million. He'll pardon whoever the fuck you want. Whoever you want. Look at fucking George Santos. The guy committed over a dozen crimes. He's ruined people's lives. He's done identity theft. He fucking stole from a dog charity that was supposed to go to treat cancer for a veteran's dog. These people are sick, disgusting fucks. And what does Trump do? He fucking pardons them. He pardons them, no problem whatsoever. All right, ready? So I'll give you this one. We'll end on this one. Trump frees executive. This is at the same time, by the way. He's freeing the narco-trafficking fascist. Trump frees executive in $1.6 billion fraud case just 12 days into his 7-year sentence, leaving 10,000 victims waiting. President Donald J. Trump commuted the prison term of David Gentile, who led GBP Capital. So this is a fucking private equity ghoul. Less than 2 weeks after he began serving a 7-year sentence in a $1.6 billion fraud that prosecutors said harmed more than 10,000 investors, according to federal records. So, by the way, somebody's got to do some reporting and connect the dots here, because I guarantee you somebody got paid off for this. Somebody got paid off for this. Somebody in Trump's orbit got paid off. Trump himself got fucking paid off. They're using shell companies or whatever the fuck. There's some backstory here that we don't know the specifics of, because this is what he does. I remember the woman who went to Mar-a-Lago, gave Trump $1 million and got her son pardoned, and then her son got out. He was a well-known fraudster and immediately started committing more crimes, including, I believe he assaulted his wife or something like that. If this was any other president, the pardon shit alone would be enough to impeach them. The pardon shit alone would be enough to remove them, to tarnish their legacy fucking forever. But Trump does 87 things on any given day that are wildly illegal and unacceptable, so he largely gets away with it. And we deal with the fucking fallout. No, this shit is crazy, bro. This shit is crazy. But now, you know what the good news is? The good news is it took a long time in the early 2000s for the country to catch up with the fact that Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice, they lied us into Iraq. It took years for the truth to set in, where people realize, holy shit, they were wrong. They just lied. But in the moment right now, people know right now that Trump is lying about Venezuela. Right now. Before he even attacked in the country proper. People know. People know. And so that's good, because that means more popular pressure, more grassroots opposition, more anger, more fucking, immediate pushback. And we need all of that we can muster. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.